So I think we might commence. I'll ask the Lady Mayoress if she'll do her honours.
Mid-Murray Council would like to acknowledge and pay respect to the traditional custodians of the land, the Ngadjuri, Naywong, Nangaraku, Narkat, Nurrindjeri and Parramatta peoples of the Mid-Murray lands and waters. It is upon their ancestral lands and waters that the Mid-Murray Council meets and operates, and Council pays respect to elders, past and present, and their spiritual beliefs that are of continuing importance to those First Nations peoples of today. Council further acknowledges the contributions and important role that First Nations peoples continue to play within the community, and we extend that respect to any peoples in attendance here today.
Thank you. Welcome to Peter for his first meeting. Congratulations to the other Peter and me for somehow limping back on. I'm told it was fiercely contested, so that's good. Can I propose that Peter Fairley-Jones be appointed Deputy Presiding Member? Do I have any? I have a seconder. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favour? Great.
Don't have anything to say.
Do you want that consent would be good. Now, before you got here, we had a little story about deputies. When I'm chair, they all have the initials LD. Stands for lame duck, because I never miss a meeting. So now that I've said that, I probably will. So I'll be the lame duck.
Not encouraged.
That's good. Confirmation of minutes, minutes of the prior meeting. I move they be accepted. Second is the Mayoress. Is there any discussion? There being none. All those in favour? Thank you. Are there any declarations of interest? Deputations? Right, John.
Okay, well, thank you, David. Just starting reports, the first one, finance had a busy year with some tasks carried forward from quarter to quarter, but none past the year end, although we do have some asset management plans still in progress.
Any questions or observations?
Just when did finance not have a busy year?
I was just going to say.
I thought I'd give us a plug. That was all.
Oh, well done, finance team. You're always awesome.
Just as a new kid on the block, what do the numbers signify in the green squares?
That was the number of the item in the agenda.
Oh, okay, right. Okay,
Cross-reference,
gotcha.
yeah.
Understand. I was trying to work that one out.
Okay, if there is no other questions, I move the report be received. Thank you, Peter. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favour? Thank you. Right, next one.
Just proposing the work program for the 2025 calendar year. It's basically a repeat of the 2024 program. We've added quarterly reporting on full cost attribution and deleted a couple of duplications that were in there, as now outlined in the report. But if there is scope to add tasks as required if we need to during the year.
Thank you. Questions, observations? All good, Peter?
Yep.
All right. I move that the report be received and that this committee endorses the draft. Can I have a seconder, please? Thank you. You, Peter?
Yep. Yeah, I'll second that.
You blinked.
Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favour? Thank you. Going for the hat trick now, please, John.
Yeah, thank you, David. Generally a positive review, the mid-year budget review. We're now predicting an operating surplus, but not an adjusted operating surplus due to the timing of income and expenditure. The big ticket item is the lodgement of a flood recovery reimbursement grant application for $3,785,500 for expenditure up to the 30th of June 2024. So that's the timing between the operating income and the adjusted operating income. Currently, this application is subject to audit, and we'll have a further application later on for expenditure since 1 July 2024. We've not yet had confirmation of the Community Recreational Asset Restoration Program grant of 4.058 million that we included in the September budget review. However, if we don't get the grant, we won't do the expenditure. The expenditure that we included to match that grant was $4.8 million, so it was a little bit higher. This review predicts a decrease in council borrowings of 3.127 million, which is funnily enough very close to the flood reimbursement grant, with predicted June debt of 9.172 million, being 5.5 million less than our long-term financial projections and almost 10 million less than what we predicted for June 2024. So I recommend the review to you. Oh, there was an error in the graphs. I joined the numbers up instead of showing the correct amount of the long-term financial plan.
It was only the 1 point for the current financial year, it's incorrect.
Sure, we put there to make sure we all read and picked it up. Okay, it's rather nice to miss the budget, but miss it the right way instead of the wrong one.
Yeah.
Very pleasant change. Okay, any questions? Andy?
Thank you. Yeah, I was just wondering if you have any idea what the outstanding amount is that we will be asking for back from the government from last June.
Clive's predicted that question and he's got the answer here.
So I've had a look at,
Sorry, this is expenditure since 30th of June.
it'll be what we will possibly claim for.
Yeah.
So probably just a little bit of clarification on the adjustment of, the income of $3.785 million. That was a combination of us claiming $4.08 million, less we had been given $295,000 in advance previously by the state government. So that gave us that net. So that's rounds off to the 1st June 2024 is what we call claim 3. Claim 4 after our contribution could approximately be $824,000 additional income. And then we've got another potential claim 5, but that will, there's obviously a lot of expenditure that we yet to spend on that. And all of that will be with a contribution of approximately 28% of it will be by council met. So basically, you're looking at a expenditure of about 693,000. Then our contribution will be 194. So then the net or the grant will be 499,000.
Given the plethora of numbers you just read out, could you perhaps circulate that as a separate email?
Yeah.
It helps the Parliament Secretary.
So we're probably looking at if everything goes right and we don't get knocked back on any of the grants. So there is some discussion about some of the items that we've claimed for the removal of the levy. So they're especially really hot on that. But if it comes well, total amount of grants could be 5.1 million.
Are we happy with what we're getting reimbursed, or
Yeah. So
are we losing out somewhere?
no. Well, so just to give you a bit more clarification, the grant funding is there's 2 main pools. There's counter disaster, pre and post. So that's basically preparing for the disaster, including levy, and up to a period of approximately the 28th of February. But for the roads, it's 3 months after the water has departed. So obviously some roads get cleared of water earlier than others. So those 2 portions are 100% grant funded. And then you have local government disaster recovery assistance arrangements, and they are based on proportion, and there's a formula, and it's a proportion of the council's income. And then it's also depending on how much the claims are overall as well. So I think our contribution of like 28% probably is fractionally high. We may come up a little bit better than that. So, and then obviously the recreational grants, that's on a basis of 25% our money versus 75% there. but the interesting part of that, anything that we have spent already to do with open space, that can be part of our contribution. So last time I did a calculation, that 25% has reduced already to 18%.
So through the chair, Peter, I'll just expand on that. So we are comfortable in general terms. We've only had a couple of claims not back, and they were not material, Clive. You know, they might have been a few $1,000s. And that's about the eligibility of those parcels of work in the different funding streams that Clive's mentioned. And so I think we're reasonably comfortable. The community recreation and asset program, the CRAP, I think if I got the acronym right, Clive, is the one that we're waiting on, and we were hopefully that was meant to be told. We were meant to be informed of the outcome of that by the end of December, but that wasn't the case. We had a meeting with Treasury a couple of weeks ago, and we are expecting an outcome on that. That was a competitive grant funding program, not like the rest of them, and so it'll be interesting because it was oversubscribed for the 5 councils that were impacted. So what's most likely going to happen is we should be successful in all of our funding other than the Morgan Wharf, which is a big unknown, and they requested some further information on that. And so we agreed to separate that from our CRAP assessment in the first instance, so as not to hold up that funding stream. So hopefully we get to find that out soon and we can get on to do, and that funding stream is around open space and community assets, basically the stuff that we haven't done, which the community is quite anxious about, and we keep getting feedback in inverted commas around that. So we're really keen to look at those parks and boat ramps and other facilities that we haven't been able to do because we haven't had funded.
So how much was the Morgan Jetty?
Wharf estimate around $2.5 million. And so we need some further engineering, which is, I think, Clive, I saw an email that Dave's getting done. And so we'll work through that. And look, that's something nice and we want to get done, but it's not an absolute priority, given the other facilities. I think, Mayor Bailey, you would support that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so basically we've been knocked back a few $1,000s on all our.
So you've done quite well.
Yeah.
What about the finance cost of, doing the work?
We've been getting money in advance.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
have.
So at the start, so so basically probably from to the start of the financial year, we probably would have been in advance. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were a couple of $100,000 in advance. This claim was obviously the 3.7 is the one that's now outstanding. And as Clive mentioned, that's just going through their audit process. So hopefully we'll hear the outcome of that. And then we'll lodge our next claim, which I can't remember, Clive, is that 4 or 5 for the remainder of the funds that Clive just mentioned.
Okay, any other observations or questions?
Just have a few questions. Amount of income and expenses. So we're increasing the income because we're getting more sales of souvenirs. 11,000, and then the expenses is 10,680. Surely we're making a bigger commission than that. Is someone keeping an eye on that?
Yes, we are keeping an eye on it, and we should be making 20%.
Maybe we just bought too much in. Just wanted to highlight that. The Morgan Caravan Park Fibre cover is $60,000 that exceeded budget line. Will that be partly reimbursed or not?
No, because it's a commercial, it's basically not themed to fall in as either essential service. So the disaster recovery, local government disaster recovery is only for essential services. So basically tourism is not an essential service, and then it doesn't fall into the open space as well. So it's non-claimable, but only to the extent of we can get some insurance from it, but basically, yeah. So
But it was works that had to be done.
I'll just have to take that on notice and let you know what type of work was involved there. But there was there has been a lot of earthworks there as well.
Mhm.
And I have claimed that as the reconstitution of the ground and
Mhm.
basically, so there could be some more money.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool. And the last one is the slipping hull repairs expense to the PS Marion. Are we going to be reimbursed by savings and things that area has for that expense, or that's?
So there was negotiations with Rockford's winery, but they're not happy in supporting the slippage of the PS Marion, but they are happy in doing other items such as upgrading the fridge and freezer facilities there, some of the passenger type areas, and any other major capital expenditure, but they don't want to back that. So now I suppose we should, with the asset management plan, we can forecast that a lot better than we've done before. So to my memories, I thought there was like during COVID, there was a delay in all the slippage, and I think they gave a bit of a dispensation of periods as well. So overall, I don't think it's more than we've really expected.
Yeah, right, cool. Thanks.
And just Clive, just a comment on that the slipping previously, we have had that covered by the arrangement with Rockford's, but it's the slippage moving forward that they feel that's outside of the scope of the agreement.
Mhm.
And probably just to follow up with your discussing about the souvenirs and making sure we have now got, it's been running probably for nearly the last 12 months, point of sale program there. So we can actually now have a look at the turnover, where things aren't turning over, and the profit margin of all those. So yeah, very much got magnifying glass on them.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Is that the one we got the little note from the ICAC?
It's just that, we've got a shop and then you got all the businesses, and there's one business that sells similar stuff. So I'm just thinking, if we're going to be competitive and then not make money, you might as well let the business on the main street get the money. So,
Yeah. It shouldn't compete with ratepayers necessarily.
no.
Okay, any further questions or comments, Peter?
I was just trying to get my mind around the adjusted ratios and particularly the graphs. And I'm just trying to, as I understand it, the fact is just a tiny difference. So it's whether we said on 30th of June or the 1st July, basically, and which year it falls into.
So under the current model financial statement, so seeing the model financial statements for local government. So So that has been modified probably in the last couple of financial years. So now it allows for an adjustment of basically any income that is not timed correctly. And so what we've done is made an adjustment for the flood.
So we can accrue it in, so for the flood.
Yeah, so we put the
7 million.
3.78 million. And also the other figure is in the operational statement and comprehensive statement of income. Notice that grants is now split into two sections, either operating or capital.
Yeah.
So the it's if you've got discretionary where you can put where you can spend your grant, and in the end you actually spend it in capital, you've still got to show it as per the accounting regulations. You've got to actually show it there. So, but because you're actually registering income for capital, but there is no expenditure of capital, it's really it's distorting it. So what we do is also take that figure out into the adjustment as well. Okay. So it's probably it could be made up of three different things. Obviously the flood, any capital grants which are in the operating statement, and then timing for VAGs.
Right. Okay.
Or gross recovery.
That's good, because that explains the comment I was looking at on page 34. Yeah, good. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments or observations? Okay, if there's not, I move that the report be received and that the committee recommends the December budget review to council for adoption, and also that the annual budget be amended to reflect the variances set out in this report. Number second, please. Thanks, Mandy. Any further discussion have been done? All those in favour? Thank you. Right. Preparation of budget and long-term financial plan.
Yeah, thanks very much. Just for the chair, we, as we always do as part of the audit program, we've got the assumptions, the preparation of budget and the long-term financial plan. These, as with Scotia's recommendations, we were doing anyway, that the budget should be always be the first year of the long-term financial plan. So we've always prepared them in at the same time. Listed is the current assumptions of the long-term financial plan and also budget timetable. So probably, yeah, once again, we'll look at the latest forecast of CPI when they become available. And the next one is on the 18th of February by the Reserve Bank, so the ABS Reserve Bank. One more thing I'm actually probably doing with the auditors, I'm just drafting up a table and also an email to them to look at indexing our asset management plans as far as the valuations, to basically do a desktop valuations. And I'm just kind of thinking through what the best percentage to index those which have been revalued 1, 2 or 3 years ago. So whether we go through LGPI, capital expenditure, or the combination, or Adelaide CPI. So that will. So previously, what I've done is I've actually indexed the depreciation expense. But so then when we come to the end of the financial year, even the actual depreciation comes underneath it, even though I'm kind of forecasting only at account level. So hopefully that'll tidy that up and make everything look a bit more gel together, a bit closer. So we've still got 2 revaluations to occur: building, land and structures and stormwater, and marine facilities as well. So hopefully they will all get done by the 3rd of June. And that's really about it, unless anyone's got some questions that they may have.
Just looking at the CWMS, and there's a couple of schemes there where we're adjusting the increase at twice the level of the CPI to full recovery.
Yeah. So
how long does that take?
So the revaluations come through for the CWSs, but so that was with Kawira.
Yeah.
So basically, the recovery was under the actual costs when it was calculated in the end, and that was probably good because of a few construction blowouts with Kawira. And so instead of having one jump, was proposed by council after they went out with public consultation with one figure, that would only increase by a maximum of twice CPI. My feelings is that probably they may be up to the right level, but I've got to sit down and do some calculations. And probably like the floods confuse things as well. Yeah.
What the swings, you've said for the balance of schemes, council have not supported the SCOS's recommendations for recovering depreciation. Have you put that to new council? Is it something that you think we should be doing?
Yeah, so there was a 5-year period where we would actually get them all into surplus. So got them all except 1 or 2 running into surplus. And once again, probably the flood distorted that a little bit with our plans. So then after the 5 years, it was going to look at full recovery. And then we'd probably phase that full recovery in as well. And there's some anomalies that need to be looked at, such as Kia Maria 5 Mile. I think the CNWS school there, where council previously, there was a challenge with the amount we were charging to the marina, because there deemed to be only one connection point there, but there was multiple houseboats. And much to my disappointment, the LGA have had a look at the review of the units code, but they haven't actually produced one. And I actually asked for some guidance for a marina. So they have guidance for caravan parks, hotels, etc. To me, there should be one, either that or we go out and have a consultation and we actually put a figure in ourselves. Unfortunately, that's the only marina that we supply the CWS services to.
Not unfortunate.
Well, what I could, yeah, I could probably, I'm not, I don't think that the, like, SA Water obviously does waters
Well, they don't, it's not connected.
to the residents.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. But unfortunately, yeah, they don't supply CWS to the birds. There's like a service, I think, but I'm sure there's some others, and there must be some logic in that. And I suppose to me, whatever I can find will be a lot better than we're charging that particular CWS. So there's.
So you're just looking for other examples that you could use potentially.
And if that's been accepted, that would be deemed fair and reasonable.
Okay, any other comments, observations, questions? Peter?
No.
I had a few more.
Yeah.
Special local roads, funding, you've got Murraylands Road in there. Council will continue to seek, grant funding to extend the ceiling. The Murraylands from Blanchetown to Morgan will be complete now with this. Is that the Blanchetown down to Manham side of things, or has that just not been updated?
No, to my understanding, there's still yet another section.
The other way, yeah, cool. I just had rates just for your information and have a think about it, but I just have a feeling that council won't be comfortable with their agreed increase that they agreed to 12 months ago with the financial vulnerability of our community with cost of living, flood and drought. So just keep that in mind, I guess.
Yeah. So I've kind of changed that assumption. So previously we used to have the CPI plus the 2% levy on that. So I've said, well, now previously we were looking for a goal of having a surplus in 26-27 of 1.1%, and my initial draft calculations will be done on that, and we'll just see how it falls out.
Yeah, cool.
Just on that point, I keep getting told that this council is impecunious, financially broke, and we've got, massive levels of debt. I just wonder whether,
I think we've got zero debt sometimes.
but I just wonder whether as part of the next time we go to our ratepayers, we remind them as to what our financial position is, because I mean, I'm correcting everybody that mentions it to me, but it seems to vary between destitute and basket case, and it's just not true.
I did a.
And I don't know why they keep repeating.
Yeah, it's just because they do. I did an article after we put out the last long-term financial plan saying actually if we're really comfortable and we've only got this amount of debt, and you'll just get those people that want to sell the negative story, I guess.
Okay, well, as Mayor, I'd encourage you to continue.
Yeah, no, I
Mr.
definitely will.
Okay, thanks.
The other thing is employee costs. So you've put the 2% because we've obviously got the agreement, and then you flip to CPI.
So there's two awards and two EVs. So we've locked in the increases for the inside staff, but the outside staff is out to negotiation, and I don't know whether Ben wants to add anything.
Look, my comment through the chair will be that we want to get away from CPI. That's we're doing our logger claims at the moment, Mayor Bailey, and that'll be one of the strong things. Whether the workforce support that or not is part of the discussions, but yeah, that will absolutely be one agenda one. is to.
And that's my comment, is if you want to get away from it, but you put it in your long-term financial plan, you're almost forcing the unions to say, hey, you've already accounted for it, so.
And to be honest, that what did come up last time, didn't it, Clive? And my response was, well, we need to budget something. And obviously it's part of the negotiations and the log of claims. But yeah, it's a fair point that we'll can give some
Yeah, I
consideration
think
to.
it'd be great if we could get out CPI from wages, because I don't think they should be on that. And the last thing, watercraft asset management plan, this is just for the committee. When it came to council were really uncomfortable about endorsing it, although they knew that we had to endorse it. It's how the assets are, but they were concerned about the changes in the long-term financial plan. So there is a review on tourism assets that will be done by June 30, so that we can have a look at what our spend is and whether we want to continue with that.
What's it, London?
That's for the review to come up with.
Mm.
Mm.
Do you want to talk a bit about our sustainability reports, maybe?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, we got an exposure,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
regulation 2022, just after the floodwater was leaving, saying that we were potentially unsustainable. So since then, it was probably slightly before then, because council already knew what sort of financial challenges we had.
Yeah.
So we're literally going through asset by asset, operation by operation, reviewing it. So we've done pools and libraries and a lot of our operating stuff, but now we're looking at our assets, so our boats that we own, and bit by bit. So we'll
Yeah.
continue with that. Council will just have a really good look, and staff will put to us what we can do alternatively.
Is that the reason for the community land that you're looking at to
Yes, yeah.
potentially
Yeah.
sell? And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so we've got 400 blocks of land, one for every
Yeah.
26 ratepayers block of land that we own. So
Yeah.
just trying to decrease things.
charge it.
Yeah.
Getting proper rates and taxes out of solar farms and battery farms to help too.
But that would, we'd have about $1 million of extra rates. So
Yeah, I saw that was.
we're advocating strongly.
What are your chances of finishing that?
Current government, 0. But LGA is working on it. I've got a really good report, and I've asked for that to be released. I've just done something in the papers, I think, last week. So once that report's released, it really shows the government's concern is that energy prices will go up. The report shows that won't happen. Hopefully, we'll get some good results after that.
It'll be handy.
What other states do in this
Yeah,
regard?
so mostly Eastern, different sort of forms of it.
Yeah,
Eastern states charge some sort of rate on
some sort, yeah.
infrastructure, whereas at the moment, our ratepayers are subsidising those
Yeah,
companies
yeah.
by about $1 million. That's what it would mean. We don't get $1 million extra rate. It just
No.
means everyone else's rates come down by that $1 million. So,
They take a big chunk of land.
yeah, and my argument is rates are a wealth tax and energy companies are wealthy. So,
Yeah.
Good, all right. Any further questions?
Just one question on the funding requirements. I guess what we're thinking is over the term of the long-term financial plan, we're not going to be planning any major capital spend. I just think if you're looking at CAD as a source of funding for long-term assets, then perhaps you should be looking at fixed rates.
Yeah, so we have a treasury policy,
Yeah.
and I think the maximum minimum is 30% either of CAD or fixed.
Yeah.
I suppose because of the flood and COVID, our CapEx program's way behind. So I actually did fix in some money, 5 million interest only, at 1.85%.
Yeah.
Was it Christmas time? We had no debt, net debt.
Yeah, a couple of days there, we didn't have any debt.
Yeah. So we've been earning,
Didn't last long.
doesn't matter.
so I think we've been earning for that $5 million, we've been earning about $390 at its peak per day of interest. So
Yeah.
we've got some finance activities. So we have been locking in. We've got a number of long-term financial, long-term loans as well. So, and part of that, we it's really hard, to try and get that percentage right when our CapEx is behind.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we have $5 million of fixed CAD, and when's our next? We've just had a treasury report, so long ago, wasn't it? Yeah, straight after annual financial statements. Yeah, but we would have something like $2 million of long-term.
But a lot of the CapEx is on renewals. So,
Yeah.
so as well. So yeah.
there's no new CapEx plan.
Yeah.
Council's made that quite clear at the
Yeah.
start.
Unless
you want
they have
something
somewhere
new.
else, yeah.
You get some funding externally. because
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, yeah, no, got it, thank you, that's good, thanks.
Good. Any further questions? There being none, I recommend that the preparation of the budget, the long-term financial plan be received. Thank you, Mayor Bailey, for seconding that. Any further debate, discussion? There being none, all those in favour? Thank you. Now the exciting stuff, full cost attribution.
Yeah, just through the chair, this is the first of many reports. And what I've done is outlined a couple of characteristics that we're targeting to have in place. It'll be an online ledger solution where it have the functionality of being able to run full cost attribution at any time we want to, but it'll be actually at least done on a monthly basis. It will form part of our all our reporting because it'll be online, which will be quite easy. None of the FCA will be part of the CapEx, so it's really not going to really cause any issues because it'll still be like our operating statement will still have the same figure. It's more of getting better figures for each function and sub-functions that we run. So I've put some the basic characteristics of that in the report, and I'll get back to that project. I've already started changing the chart of account, and basically the different buckets which need to be redistributed. Most of the accounts have been created in all the other sub functions. So basically, you'll have I call them the SS support services, and what will happen is within that one function, there will be a recovery account, which will after the journal is raised, we'll have a credit balance, which will equal all the debits in that area. And then they will be distributed across all the other functions, all the outside service functions.
Okay, thank you. Questions?
What do you do with the council, cost of the council? How are you treating that?
The governance.
Yeah.
So what I've done is in looking for some guidance, I've looked at Grants Commission purpose codes. And so they don't deem governance as a administration charge.
To be distributed or
So governance will not be distributed.
Yep.
But all the administration. So its code is the 11889, the old purpose code, which is administration. All of those I'll distribute. But looking at there's a couple of issues with them, and I'm going to report that to the Grants Commission. Reviewing the codes.
Yeah, yeah.
Councillor Cheap.
It's not fully costed.
So at the moment we do put some of our, so like the directors, I think we have about 10% or 15% of them going to governance at the moment because of the administrative burden of local government, I suppose, and the rest is put to either directly to one or two other. So mine at the moment is really just going to corporate finance, where and then it doesn't matter, they'll get distributed.
Yeah, the tricky bit is making sure that whoever controls the costs still controls the costs when they're distributed out. You may be getting hit with costs that you have no control over.
It's like
things like computer costs and stuff that you have no say in what you buy, but suddenly you're hit with the costs that.
It's like depreciation. What's this depreciation? They told me to cut my budget. Well, how can I cut that? Well, sorry, you can't.
You can't.
If you like the full cost attribution, it is a cost. And if I've implemented in other councils, and what I do is I have enough detailed costings. If anyone says, on a monthly basis, you hit this one of my sub functions with, $55,000. Well, what does that make up of? I'll be able to tell them by those accounting and finances X amount, and just by having a different income expense and others. So I can kind of, there's an audit trail back and forth for the year. It just takes a little while to set up really correctly.
And there's a cost of maintenance as well, keeping it going and reviewing it, and
Yeah,
when things change, and I think things often change, and
yeah,
it is not a big fun, to be honest.
the functionality of our current corporate system handles it quite well. It's really the review of the drivers on an annual
that's right.
basis,
Yeah.
or you have something kind of coming halfway through the year,
Yeah.
and you say, "Oh, do you make do we redo all the drivers just for that or not?" Yeah, and then saying you might have one then disappear because their funding runs out 6 months, and yet you still might be pushing. Sorry, might be pushing FCA to it as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah, that is tricky.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
It excites me.
Yeah.
This excites me.
Yeah. Right. On that basis, I recommend that the full cost attribution project report be
I'll second
received.
that.
Thank you, Mayor. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favour? Thank you. Right. Policy and procedure review.
Okay, thank you, David. This one's been prepared by governance and we'll just present it take it as read, I think, please.
Very sensible. Questions, observations, comments?
I have just one about
Yes.
the list. There are a handful of items that are down for review before today that don't have a recommendation not to be reviewed next to them. So I was just wondering whether there's a reason for that. Do you want an example of that? Or are you aware? Yep, the code of practice for access to council and committee meetings and documents, electronic means.
It's been done.
Hang on a minute. Yeah, so there's nothing there to say that it's been reviewed. That was due in August 24. Do you know what I mean? So it's just there's a few of those in there, that's all. So just pointing it out.
Through the
Thank you.
chair, we'll take on a notice, Mandy, and have a look at that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Any other questions or observations? On that basis, I recommend the report be received. Second, thank you, Peter. Further discussion, there being none? All those in favour? Thank you. Accounting policies for review.
Yeah, through the chair. Also, we can take this one as it's presented. All of our accounting policies be up to date when the community loans policy is reviewed, which is the next item on our agenda.
Well done.
And
Yep.
Which we're doing early.
it's not due till May, is it?
Yeah.
Not very often you see a report that's almost
All green.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
And there's only a tiny change really to this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, and they've all been reviewed in this term of council.
Well done. All right. If there is no further discussion, I recommend the report be received. Thank you, Peter. Further discussion, there being none. All those in favour? Thank you. Right, community loans. Awesome.
Yeah, through the chair, there's just a couple of minor changes to the interest, to remove the phasing in of interest on community loans and deleting the possible requirement of having insurance against defaulting on the loan, which in practice had never been enforced anyway, so we took it out.
And if, just through the chair, if the entity can't get a loan, I don't think they'll get insurance for the
No,
loan.
that's correct.
Unrisked.
I probably should report that I'm treasurer of the Swan Ridge Golf Club, who made an application prior to Christmas for an $11,000 loan and got it. And I think the money's been transferred on Wednesday. So I don't think it's a conflict, but I just thought I'd express it because it became a question later on, for which we're most grateful.
You've just seen how great this policy is and how it works, Sarah.
I've been guided by Clive, so thank you very much for your help. He's even good at doing budgets for me, filling out the forms.
And I'm very excited that people pay the interest now. But it doesn't fall on.
Even though it's expensive, it's
Yeah.
it's a good
So
facility.
you've got the option to pay it off earlier.
That won't happen. Not while I'm in the chair anyway. All right, any
Looking at the balance sheet of the bowling, the golf club, David, you probably didn't even need the loan, but it's good to have the.
Well, we do have some equipment that's failing, so, and buying second-hand John Deere's are pretty bloody expensive, and there's not many around at the moment. Anyway, all right, any further?
Well, there's a tariff on it.
Oh, yeah, that's true. We've got to get it through. Right, any further discussion? There being none, I would recommend that the report be received and the recommend to council that it be endorsed. Can I thank you, Peter? Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favour? Now, one of my very favourite topics. Been very,
Rarely comes up.
been my very favourite topic for the last 12 years. As I remember.
Why haven't you fixed it yet?
Well, if I could fix it, it would be fixed. You wouldn't get anything done at council level, though. Everyone be on leave.
It's a topic at every council.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's improving, so.
Yeah.
So it bloody should too.
Yeah.
Right, Clive.
John,
Yeah.
John.
Thank you,
Or
Dave.
your name below.
Through the chair. We've circulated reports to each of the managers in the last fortnight outlining outstanding leave details and encouragement for staff to take their leave. The staff member who's in the highest bracket is currently on leave, but he will remain the leader after his 4 weeks. And I guess he's probably eyeing retirement in the not too distant future, so that might drop off. It's not me, but
We haven't been here long enough.
I haven't got long to go.
I meant in terms of years of service.
Yeah,
I mean, as I understand it, you can cash out annual leave, you can't cash out long service leave. Has that been considered again?
Through the chair, the other way around was, David, and now we've brought our policy in that you can cash out a component of your annual leave as long as you still have a amount there, so you can take leave from a welfare perspective.
Okay, so do we promote that, or do our employees with excessive leave know about it?
Yeah, so we have those conversations. So yeah, the policy was only updated last year, I think, Clive, to encourage or enable the annual leave component. But the leave management plans that are required for those staff with excessive leaves, the managers or their supervisor are having those conversations. But obviously we can't force them to do that. But there's circumstances where they do take that option up.
Okay, all right, thank you. John, you are still going on?
yeah, there's 2 of the SMT are on our high list, so we need to encourage them to take some leave as well. But one of them has dropped a couple of levels since June 30, but it comes around and goes around. And
I'm going fishing next month.
yeah,
And I took 4.5 weeks over Christmas. I'll keep doing it.
yeah,
All right, thank you, John.
Yeah.
Is that the end of your report?
yeah. I think there's plenty more information in the report.
Okay, any questions or observations? There being none, I move that the report be received. Of the second, thank you, Mayor. Any further discussion? All those in favour? Thank you. Awareness of council reports.
Okay, thank you, David. Just highlight a couple. Council has borrowed $100,000 and on lent it to the Manham Community Church to build a building. And various parcels of land have had their community land classification revoked, and there's some sales in the negotiation and facilitation stage. So hopefully we can reduce our debt with those proceeds.
Good, thank you. Any questions? Observations? Okay, on that.
Interesting to see activity that's going on.
Yeah,
in that report.
good, all right. I've moved that the report be received.
The new Peter.
Sorry?
Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah.
I just through you, Chair. I was just going for the new Peter's reference. This is just a report that we started probably in the last 12 months, given the cycle of the meeting structure or meeting schedule, just to make sure that the committee members were aware of anything that happened from council. if you weren't trolling the through the agendas each month. So it just highlights anything significant that has a financial implication for your reference. The full
Yeah.
agendas are obviously there as required.
No, very useful, Mark, very useful, yeah.
All right, thank you. So I've moved the report be received. Do I have a seconder? Thank you. New Peter, as you've been called by the CEO. There being no further discussion, all those in favour? Thank you. I wasn't going to say that.
Been here a while,
You're in no
Peter.
position.
Senior. Right, on to the status of the work program, our work program.
Yeah, we're pretty much up to date with work continuing on the asset management plan for river facilities going forward, which will take longer than we hope because it's difficult to get people to put a valuation on, and contractors are scarce in that area.
So the new ones, that's the new report, the new plan, so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we haven't currently got a river facilities plan.
Yeah.
We've just completed one for the boats, but not for the boat ramps and.
Yeah.
Those.
And it was hard to get a valuer for that as well, wasn't it?
Oh,
Took ages. Yeah.
you mess around with water
Mm,
and the
mm,
costs are astronomical and people are scared to put a value on it for you.
It's hard enough with stuff floating on top of it,
Yeah,
yeah.
the boats.
Plus you got the insurance on professional negligence in case they get it wrong.
yeah. And you
That's-
can't
that's it.
see what you can't see.
Especially in the Murray.
Particularly the money. All right, any comments or questions? All right, so I'm going to move the report be received. All those in favour, seconders and favours, thank you. Mayor Bailey was seconded there.
She's quick.
Right, any other business? Peter?
No.
Mayor?
Yes, I'll be an apology for the May meeting.
Well, maybe, because I might be changing it.
I'm away for the whole of May. so-
Oh, right, okay, like that, thank you.
No, that's
You,
good.
Peter? Old John?
No, not for me, thank you, Dave.
So,
Now, fine, that's it.
good. My error, but I did originally consent to the 8th of May being fine, but then when saying yes and it actually happening, somebody else jumped in the way. Is it possible to move it to the day before, or is that inconvenient for everybody else?
I'm not sure, but the step,
Seventh of May.
7th.
One day,
You want to make it the 7th or?
Yeah.
It'll be the Wednesday rather than
Wednesday, not
Thursday.
at 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock, is that convenient to you and you, Peter?
I'll find my. Oh, no, I've got the Wi-Fi. I can't confirm that at this point. I think it should be.
Okay.
But can I get back to you? Cool, that's fine.
So you're making it the 7th instead of the 8th.
Correct, subject to
Yep.
you, Peter, checking his diary.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
probably, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll wait until I hear, all right? Otherwise, I'll be the LD, not you. All right, if there's no further business, I declare the meeting closed at 2:53 PM. Thank you and good afternoon. And again, well done to all the work you guys do. It makes our job relatively easy.